Hello, I'm Alex with Lifecycle Insights, and today we're going to talk about how to use Lifecycle Insights in a prospecting or a pre-sales engagement. In this particular case, we don't have all of our RMM agents deployed. We don't know quite as much about our customer or our prospect as we do about a customer who's in the tool, who we know about all of their assets, probably about all of their users, and we've been supporting their environment for a little while. So let's talk about what we can do in the tool with a customer who we just know a little bit less about. But first, we're going to start by pulling over this prospect out of our PSA or our primary data source without using up a Lifecycle Insights license. One of the cool things about Lifecycle Insights is we give you unlimited assessment only customers. So if you look over here in show and assessments only under the company selection for my primary integration, I can select the prospect that I want to work with, and you can see I've already pulled in 16 Mile Brewery. So they're under show and assessments only. This column does not get billed and does not have access to some of the additional features in the platform, but it will let you run an assessment and compare that assessment to a previous one. So let's look at what that looks like. Just for the record, this is the column that you get billed against. So if you bring a customer in to show all reports, you'll get billed for that client. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to assessments, and then we're going to go up to our assessments list, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to find our assessments only customers, and we're going to select 16 Mile Brewery. So at this point, I've already run a couple of sample assessments for this customer, but let's dig in and talk about what this really looks like. What we're really going to do is we're going to go in and look at what our pre-sales or prospecting engagement looks like for this customer. So I can drill in. I'm going to go ahead and set this up. I could edit the details of this. I can edit the tag and some of those kind of things. But really what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to take an event of what the customer looks like right now today. So this is where they're going to be largely out of alignment with our best practices, right? You know, this customer has some Windows 10 Home floating around their environment. They've got some switches that are old that we're not happy with. But I go ahead and score the assessment how I normally would. Now that I've scored that assessment, though, I'm going to go back to the events list and I'm going to copy that assessment as a comparison. Okay. When you click copy, it'll give me the option to carry over all of my previous responses. And I want to bring over my public and private comments just in case I said anything on here that I want to carry over to the conversation that's going to be my new, my proposed state for the customer after we've been working with them for a little while. And we can call this a baseline. This is what the customer would look like after they first onboard with us and where they really get started with us. Or you could technically call it a comparison assessment. These are simply tags. They don't do anything in the system except help you understand where your mentality was when you were performing this assessment, where you were thinking about being with this customer on that first assessment. Once we've copied it, it will go ahead and save, and we'll drill into that assessment, and we'll go ahead and score it where the customer would be once I've brought all my solutions to them, right? So here in servers, we're going to do a server replacement project as part of onboarding this customer. We're not going to take on their old server, or maybe we're going to migrate them to the cloud. But regardless, we've moved that from the old red answer that you see has an asterisk next to it to a satisfactory green answer. Workstations was already green. Operating systems was at needs attention. We're going to do some OS upgrades to get this customer up to speed where we need them to be. We're going to replace some switches. Right. And for some reason, that one was only marked going from yellow to green or red to yellow. We're going to mark it satisfactory. We're going to bring in a new hardware as a service switch and just go ahead and drop it in place. Wi-Fi, same thing. We're going to fix this problem. Power management, we're going to replace the battery backup. So you can see as I go down, the original answer has a star next to it. The new answer that we're going to pick is going to be one that has a better, is more suited to something we'd want to support. Once I've got my new assessment fully scored, and I'm not going to do that, let you guys watch me go through and do that. It takes a little while to do. But once you've got your new assessment fully scored, now we can go use this assessment comparison report that lives up here. And we can actually show the customer, look, Mr. Prospect, today with your current IT provider, you're about 70% aligned with what we think our best practices are. And our best practices really align with the CIS benchmarks or with NIST or whatever it is that you follow, right? If you were to come to work with us, we would bring all of our tools to bear. We'll bring backup solutions. We'll bring antivirus and anti-malware. We'll bring email and anti-spam filtering. We'll reconfigure your Office 365 so that it's more secure than it was when we started with you, right? We're going to solve for a lot of these problems. And if we've gone through and done the right thing with our customer, we've had a discussion, we know what their pain looks like, and we're going to explain to our customer that a lot of their pain exists because of the misconfigurations that exist between this 70 and this 94. And we're going to walk down through this report with the customer. We're going to be able to explain that, hey, we're going to fix servers when we come in here. We're going to address your operating systems when we come in here. And they're going to be able to see line by line by line that you continue to improve the functionality inside of their network. Okay. In this particular instance, we didn't totally complete both of these risk assessments. So the bottom sections are empty in these. You would go ahead and score these all the way down. In the event that you make this presentation to a prospect and they say, you know what, this is a really big purchase, it's more money than I thought it was going to be, I'm actually going to have to put this out for bid. Can you just leave me this report and let me go over it and compare it to the other bids that we get? No problem, Mr. Prospect. You know, a lot of what's on this report is my best practices and my intellectual property are kind of our secret sauce. But I'll be happy to leave you the summary here that shows all of the categories that we scored you against on our pre-sales risk assessment. And you can go over this with any of your bidders that decide to take a look at this project. If you want to compare apples to apples, once you get those bids, just give me a call. I'll bring back the full version of this. We can compare exactly what they quoted you to exactly what we're showing you. And that way we can have an apples to apples comparison. I know this is complicated stuff. You'll forget things between now and then. So let's schedule a sit down in say 3 weeks once you've had a chance to do a few of these, and then we can compare apples to apples. So this really gives you a chance to kind of drive a wedge between them and their current provider, who's only providing 70% of the solution that they need, as well as protect yourself on the delivery of the assessment and not have to leave all of your intellectual property behind. That is your risk assessment and all of the work that you do. You can also go into Report Builder with this prospect, and we can create a custom template for this prospect, right? So I can come out here and add a component. We're probably going to want some sort of a cover page. I like my cover pages to be a Word document, so I'll just bring in a Word document. You can drag and drop a Word document and drop it right here. I'll go ahead and create a Word document at a later date that has the customer's logo on it, just a quick overview of the presentation. If I've got some other information that I need to bring in out of not Lifecycle Insights, I can bring in either another Word file template and I can move that information into Word and bring it in, or we have our very own text block templates that can be baked out into Report Builder. So we can bring in an empty text block template, and if we had screenshots out of one of our scanning tools, or if we had any other information that we wanted to put in here, you know, we can build this all out. This is a pretty basic, pretty simple editor, but you can add photos, you can add tables and bullets, and really build out a reasonable presentation page. But then really what we want is to come back with that risk assessment comparison report. So as we look at the assessment comparison template, we're going to go ahead and bring that in. And what we want to make sure is that we're grabbing the second assessment. And if your numbers are backwards, if it looks like the customer's going down, it means you grabbed the wrong one. You can always, you can always swap the columns and save it, and that'll give you an assessment that improves over time. So once we've got this, we can go ahead and save our template. And then we can use the presentation mode, or we can print the report out to a Word document. In presentation mode, what we get is the ability to give this presentation over a Zoom recording or something like that without having to go build a PowerPoint. If we had pulled in a Word doc, it would live here. If we had put anything in our text block template, it would live here. And then our assessment comparison report, that's right here. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and quite a powerful way to use Lifecycle Insights and the assessments functionality to go out and score a prospect against where they're starting from today and where they might be after they've been with you for 30 days or 90 days or something like that. But the real power of this is that as part of your close in your sales process, you can explain to the prospect, what it looks like to work with us is that we'll have a strategic conversation with you on the regular so that you never fall back down to a 70. We'll continue to discuss the risk that lives between 94 and 100. And in all reality, your equipment will age out, things will get older, technology will change, and you'll naturally just slide backwards a little bit, but we'll have quarterly or semi-annual or annual conversations around technology and strategic technology and how to make sure that we address the risk as you start to slide back and make sure that we're making the right adjustments as we continue to move you forward. Those additional calls, those additional meetings will include things like a budget forecast and asset list management and license management for Microsoft 365. We'll have a complete and strategic conversation that comes out of the same platform as the presentation that we're giving to you today. So it really helps you set that presentation up for success. I hope that's some useful information. If you have any questions for us, info@lifecycleinsights.io. And thank you very much. Look forward to working with you.